Hello Virgo, this is going to be your February 2020 tarot reading. I'm going to pull a few cards from this deck to get a good idea of what's going on, then we'll do an oracle card. We'll do some clarifying dice. Those are really cool. If you haven't seen those tarot dice yet, I dig them. They're so cool. I want to thank all of you who may have been waiting for these readings. I totally know they're a little bit later than I had anticipated anyways. But January was like a fog for me. I went through a lot of growth and a lot of things were changing, and I just couldn't really bring myself to this space, without, I really wanted to be grounded before I came here and really have some mental clarity. So I thank you all for honoring me and my space. And if you were going through that same thing, just know you were not alone. I was feeling all that eclipse from January. All right, Virgo. Looks like you have Knight of Pentacles coming up, Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor, and Seven of Wands. All right. Let's start right here. Now you can use these as a weekly tarot for yourself depending on how it plays out for you. Obviously it's going to be different for every Virgo out there, but this is really just going to kind of give us a general idea of what you might be going through in February, not necessarily in order, okay? Now we have the Knight of Pentacles coming up here, and this is always going to be a card about action. So prior to this moment, or prior to the energy of this card, you were already analyzing and studying and researching and looking into something. Maybe you were doing some in-depth planning. Maybe you were doing crunching of numbers for your taxes or something, because Knight of Pentacles is always going to signify something solid, something that takes a little bit of time, because it always goes towards our stability and our legacy. So something you've been really working on is, now needing some action. So whatever that may be for you, you'll either be guided on that, or you already know what kind of action needs to be taken to gain further stability, and however you can level that up and, just really strengthen the stability that you've been studying and now are able to actually take some action on. And this all may be due to this card here, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Now this is a major arcana card, so this is going to be something big for you, Virgo. Big changes. So some of you may be entering into a new job. Maybe you just got a promotion. Maybe you're going into a new relationship, or maybe you're going to the next level of a relationship. This is typically the end of a chapter, not necessarily the end of the book. Okay? This is where something new culminates and accumulates from everything that's happened up to this point. Okay? It's kind of like a milestone in a story, or a highlight, And this always comes about when we have gained experience and knowledge that we need in order to move forward. So something's closing up for you. It's like that mechanism in that movie 13 Ghosts, Something shifts in that house. It opens up some doors but locks down other doors. That's kind of what's happening here. So while there may be some locked doors, and you may feel that on a different level for each of you Virgos, there is openings that are happening simultaneously. Now you also have the Emperor coming up here, and this is another major arcana. So this is going to be going along with that big shift. And the Emperor, whenever he encounters some kind of big shift, is able to move through it very seamlessly, because he already realizes what's going on. Like, he always bases everything off of his realization of his current reality, of his dreams, his actions, his words. This is all pure realization. He is the king of all kings. So he is definitely about action. He is definitely about getting things done, bringing things to the forefront, getting it taken care of to really maintain and sustain the entire kingdom of kingdoms. He is in charge of all of it. So he definitely realizes his role and his power. And it may be where you start to adopt that throughout February, Virgo, where you really start to step into your power because you've gone through this shift. All right, so let's see what this is here now. It looks like you will have a little bit of friction at some point in February, but it's not bad. Sometimes we just need to stand our ground, because the Seven of Wands is asking you to really check where your head and heart are on the same page with what you're doing. And it's going to be around something that you're passionate about. For some of us, that's going to be work, right? So some Virgos are going to be feeling that in their work where they kind of have to stand their ground. Some of it's going to be a relationship. Some of it's going to be a creative project. Either way, you're going to have to stand your ground and make sure that your head and heart are on that same pathway, okay? Because you can't really move forward unless you know exactly what you're defending here. You know, your path could totally shift due to this defensive stance. So recognizing that, you know, whatever you're defending is definitely going to change the outlook of what's behind this door for you. And that'll be different for every single Virgo watching. But it will be, you know, a general idea of what might be happening. Something you're going to have to stand up for, or that you feel you need to stand up for. And regardless of how that plays out for you, it's going to change the way that your path unfolds. So let's get some tarot dice. These are a little bit loud when I'm shuffling them, so I'm just going to grab 4 of them out of this bag, but I am going to mute the video. Okay, you've got a lot of major arcana even here. This is great. All right, now you have the Fool coming up, okay? And whenever the Fool comes up, it's saying, hey, did you know that you're right at the beginning of something, and you can totally take a leap of faith? You have learned so many things up to this point, Virgo, that you're able to just kind of go with it. You may be a little fearful because you don't know what the result is going to be, is what I'm trying to say, rather. You don't know what the result is. You just know you want to go. Well, this right here is telling you, yes, definitely go for it. Take a leap of faith. Maybe do something that kind of terrifies you, because you may realize that that is exactly what you wanted to do. And this is all about action, right? The Knight of Pentacles is having some action towards his stability. And this leap of faith is going to be towards your stability. So whatever that action is that we were talking about, know that you can take that first step. You can start to engage in that dream. Now, also here, the High Priestess is always there to remind us that we need to follow our intuition, okay? Definitely follow the divine. Recognize that you're being guided. Know that a lot of this stuff for this mechanism to churn has already been written down. It's just been waiting for you to come through and push the button. So knowing that everything is already in a divine plan of sorts is really sometimes comforting, to know that we are on the right path. And when we don't really stay on our path, that eventually divine intervention will occur and make us. And that can sometimes happen, like in this Death. So this would be the Death for the tarot, and the Death always comes expectedly. Okay, it's a lot different than the Tower. Whenever the Death energy comes through, it's like we saw it coming, but you know you can't run from it, right? You know you can't avoid death, rather. And so it's something that's seen. You knew an ending was coming. You knew a change was coming. You knew something was going to shift. You maybe didn't know how. You knew it was coming. And then when it comes, it's like, oh, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I kind of figured. So remaining strong and in your power as some of these things are shifting and changing throughout February in your environment is going to be the best way to get through this death, right? You're going to have this new air of, you know, empowerment around you when you can get through this. When you get through this divine intervention that's going to occur to keep you on path, because you know you're being guided, then you're able to really just accept that, take that information, move forward, create something out of it. Action, you know, action around great resolve. Now you also get the Queen of Cups over here. So this is where you're nurturing your emotions. So this situation right here, where you're, you know, standing up for something and holding your ground and really staying firm to something that your head and heart kind of have an agreement in, recognize that you can nurture those feelings. You can nurture those feelings, and you don't actually have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to explain why you're standing your ground. You don't have to justify why it is that you feel the way that you do. You can just do it, you know. And so this is there to clarify for you that you can nurture the feelings that you're having around this defensiveness that you're being kind of pressed into. So you have a lot of major arcana going on in February, Virgo. A lot of big changes are happening, so definitely bear with it. Let's get you an advice card from the Oracle deck and see if we can just get a little bit more clarity on what you can do to make February a little smoother. If you haven't subscribed already, please, please, please subscribe. It definitely helps the channel, helps me spread all this cool information around. If you like the video, like it, you know, that little thumbs up thing, that helps too. And if you want to comment, I'm always down to respond, so definitely feel free to leave comments. Also, I put a lot of stuff in the description that I don't necessarily say on the video recording. So stuff that's like on my table here, what decks I use, some other little tidbits about the month is all in the description below, so definitely check that out too. Let's get an advice card for Virgo. All right, unfinished symphony. So, you know, maybe that's where that leap of faith is going. It's like you have something more that you need to do. All right, and that could also be with this defensive stance here. Having an unfinished symphony means that there's just so much more you can do. You have more options. You don't have to be stuck or stagnant. You have the opening and option to really create the life that is your symphony, you know? And so as we go through some of these changes, recognizing that you are being given an option to finish parts of your symphony. You know, it's not all chaos. Sometimes when death comes around, it feels like chaos, but it's not. It's there to serve you. So definitely keep that in mind in February, that you have much to do. The grand divine design of what is meant for you is unfolding before your eyes, and you will, you know, be kept on track by divine intervention. So that's really cool stuff. You are being guided, dear Virgo. All right, we will see you later. You all have an awesome February. We'll catch you for March. Take it easy.